Your Wrangler doesn't need a new engine. It needs the 7 fixes every dealer forgets to tell you about. The quart of oil vanishing every 1,000 miles, that faint ticking at idle, the sluggish gas pedal, all of it points to the same hidden problem sitting on your 3.6 Pentastar right now, and you can fix it this weekend. First up is your oil filter housing. If you own a 3.6-liter Pentastar, and most Wranglers since 2011 do, this is the #1 killer on the whole engine. Nobody warns you about it until the damage is done. The oil filter housing isn't just a filter mount on this engine. It also holds the oil cooler, so coolant runs through it to cool your engine oil, and the whole thing is sealed with little rubber O-rings. Those O-rings get baked by heat. Over time, they shrink and crack. Oil starts leaking down the back of the block, drips right onto the hot exhaust, and you get that burning smell in the cabin with the windows down. Half the owners think it's a valve cover leak and blow $600 chasing the wrong gasket. It's not the valve cover, it's the housing. The fix is cheap and it saves your engine. Swap the whole oil filter housing with the updated aluminum version. Don't put another plastic one on there because that plastic gets brittle and cracks again in a year or two. While you're in there, replace the oil cooler O-rings and both coolant hoses attached to the housing. Techs replace all 4 seals at once, because coming back a month later to fix the second leak wastes the whole job. Use Mopar OEM gaskets only. Fix this one leak and your oil pressure comes right back at highway speed. That faint ticking at idle gets quieter almost overnight. That's the biggest killer on the platform, and it's the easiest one to knock out. Yet the second mistake owners make right after this repair is what quietly ruins the engine anyway. Now the second fix is the oil change interval. Jeep's own oil life monitor lets you go 10,000 miles between changes. That number is a fleet average lie. It's built for a Wrangler that only drives smooth highways in cool weather with no towing and no dirt. If you drive gravel, tow a boat or trailer, sit in stop-and-go traffic, or take your Jeep off-road even a little, Jeep calls that severe duty. Severe duty cuts your interval down to 3,000 to 5,000 miles. Almost every Wrangler owner qualifies as severe duty and has no clue. Skipping this rule is why so many Pentastars start burning a quart of oil every 1,000 miles around 80,000. The oil's additive package is shot. The piston rings stop getting protected, and the rings glaze right against the cylinder walls. Once that starts, you're topping off oil for the rest of the engine's life. It's not fixable with more oil changes after that point. Run full synthetic that meets MS 6395 spec. On the 3.6 Pentastar, stick with 5W20. On the 2.0 turbo, run 5W30 full synthetic, because a hot turbo cooking cheap oil is the fastest way to kill a turbo bearing on that engine. Never run regular oil in either one. And this next part nobody tells you. Let the oil drain a long time. The Pentastar holds 5 quarts, but the oil clings to the block, so a 15-minute drain leaves almost half a quart of dirty oil trapped inside. 20 minutes at minimum. Then check the dipstick 5 minutes after fill, per the manual. This one habit alone adds years to the top end. But even fresh oil can't save you from the $5 part that decides if your engine burns oil or not. Skip the next fix and your engine burns oil forever. So let's talk about the PCV valve. The PCV valve is a $5 plastic part that has a bigger effect on your engine than any $1,000 shop bill. On the 3.6 Pentastar, when this valve clogs, crankcase fumes get pushed back into the intake, oil mist coats your intake valves, and you start burning oil with 0 leaks on the driveway. Owners chase phantom leaks for months, while the real problem costs less than lunch. The signs are dead giveaways. Oil residue crusting around the oil filler cap, a soft whistling sound from the top of the engine at idle, oil use jumping from normal to a quart every 1,500 miles without a single drip anywhere. Replace it every 60,000 miles, whether the manual says so or not. On the 2018 and newer JL, the PCV lives on the passenger valve cover. It comes off in 20 minutes with hand tools. Use a Mopar OEM part, not the cheap aftermarket copy, because the wrong flow rate throws lean codes and lights up your check engine light. $5 saves you a $2,000 top-end job. If your Wrangler is a 2011 to 2013 build, this fix matters even more. Those years had the defective left cylinder head with weak exhaust valve seats. Chrysler quietly issued warranty extension X56, giving those owners 10 years or 150,000 miles of coverage on the head. A bad PCV pushing extra oil into that already fragile head is what tips it into a misfire and a cracked head casting. Fix the PCV early and you outrun the problem. That's the cheapest lifter tick prevention you'll ever buy. Now onto the part of your engine that's already crusted with garbage right now and you don't even know it. 5 minutes with a rag can save you a whole tune-up, and the target is your throttle body. Your throttle body and intake are collecting oil residue from that same PCV system, and it bakes into carbon that chokes airflow. This is why your Wrangler feels slow off the line, why idle gets rough at stoplights, and why fuel economy quietly drops 2 miles per gallon without you noticing. The fix isn't just dumping a bottle of injector cleaner in and hoping. Pull the intake tube. Spray a good throttle body cleaner like CRC on the plate and around the bore. Wipe it with a clean rag. Do not force the butterfly open with your hand, because on a drive-by-wire system, that throws off the calibration. Just wipe the visible carbon, put it back together, and let the computer relearn over the next 50 warm-up cycles. Do this once a year on any Pentastar past 60,000 miles. On any Wrangler at 100,000, this cleanup alone gives you back throttle response you thought was gone forever. Owners send in videos every week showing idle dropping smooth again the same afternoon. But spray cleaner only reaches the front of the throttle plate. For the injectors and the combustion chamber, you need a different weapon. And there's really only one product that clears carbon deposits most other cleaners can't touch. That single cleanup wakes the engine up right off the line, but the deeper carbon is where the real ticking hides. If every fix I'm covering makes you want the whole playbook by mileage, I put it all into a full Jeep Longevity ebook. Grab it before you touch anything else on your Jeep. The link is down in the description below. The fifth fix lives in your fuel system. The additive that actually cleans a Pentastar isn't Techron, and it isn't the gas station junk at the counter. It's BG44K. Ask any tech who's had a Pentastar on the lift in the last 10 years, and they'll say the same thing. BG44K has the highest amount of PEA, the one chemical that breaks apart carbon stuck to your injectors and the back of your intake valves. Run 1 bottle every 20,000 miles. Dump it into a nearly empty tank so it stays strong in the fuel rail. Fill up with top-tier gasoline, drive the Jeep normal, and let it work through the whole tank. Owners running this routine watch the ticking fade, throttle response sharpen, and misfire codes clear on the same drive. And skip the seafoam through the brake booster trick. It cleans the upper intake, sure, but the risk of hydrolock on a modern Pentastar isn't worth a smoke show and a call from your neighbors. Stick to fuel side dosing only. The rest of the year, run top-tier fuel from Chevron or Shell. Top-tier stations dose their gas with stronger detergent packs than the EPA minimum, and that alone keeps injector spray patterns clean without any additive. Off-brand gas stations save you 15 cents a gallon and cost you $200 a year in carbon damage. That combo alone stops most of the ticking your engine will ever make. But even clean fuel can't save you from the $10 mistake owners make every 15,000 miles. $10 can save your engine, and I mean the engine air filter. Every Wrangler owner remembers the oil filter, and every Wrangler owner forgets the engine air filter. That filter is the only thing between your intake tract and the dust, silica, and grit from every gravel road, fire trail, and construction zone you drive through. Once it clogs, the ECU dumps more fuel to fake its way through, and your fuel economy tanks 2 miles per gallon before you spot anything wrong on the gauge. Replace it every 15,000 miles if you off-road at all, or 20,000 miles if you're pure pavement. Same schedule for the cabin air filter. Never bang a dirty filter on the ground and reinstall it, because that rips the paper media and lets fine grit ride straight into your cylinders. That's exactly how new engines end up with scored bores at 80,000 miles. Buy a fresh Mopar filter or a K&N reusable. Oil the K&N right if you go that route, and move on. You just protected 200,000 miles of driving for the cost of a lunch. But the next fix is where Jeep's own manual sets you up to fail, and most owners never see it coming. Now for the mistake Jeep's own manual makes you make, the coolant flush. Jeep says 150,000 miles or 10 years on the coolant. That timer only holds up in a lab. The HOAT coolant in your Wrangler breaks down way faster in heat, humidity, and hard driving, and once it does, the rust protection stops working. You get sand and sludge collecting in the cylinder heads, which the Pentastar is already famous for. That sludge blocks coolant, overheats the left bank, and cooks the exhaust valve seats. That's the same cylinder head failure that killed the 2011 to 2013 Pentastars, and it still kills engines today. Flush the system every 5 years or 75,000 miles, not 10. Use Mopar OAT 10-year coolant if your Jeep calls for it, or HOAT if you have the older TJ or JK. Never mix the two, because they clot into sludge inside the block. Drain the radiator, refill with distilled water, run to temp, drain again, and repeat until the water runs clear. Then top up with a 50-50 mix and bleed the air out at the thermostat bleed screw. Do this before the first overheat, not after. Once sand blocks coolant flow, no flush recovers it. That flush is why some Pentastars hit 300,000 miles without ever touching the top end. But the last fix is completely free, and it's the one owners screw up every single morning. The last one is free, and it's your cold start habit. Every morning you start your Wrangler, the oil is thick, the cylinders are dry, and the tolerances are off. Idling 5 minutes to warm up sounds smart, but it does the opposite. Modern engines warm faster under light load, not sitting still. Idling too long washes fuel down the cylinder walls, dilutes your oil with unburned gas, and coats your spark plugs with soot. The right way is stupid simple. Start the engine, let it settle for 10 or 15 seconds, then drive gently for the first 2 or 3 minutes. No hard gas, no high RPM, no towing until the temp gauge climbs. That's it. This one free habit protects your piston rings and valve guides more than any additive on any shelf. And the shutdown matters just as much. Rolling into your driveway after a highway pull and killing the engine right away bakes oil onto hot exhaust manifolds and scores your cylinder walls. Let it idle 30 seconds to cool the top end before you shut it down. On the 2.0 turbo, that 30 seconds is non-negotiable, because a hot turbo with no oil flow coke locks the bearings overnight. Change spark plugs at 100,000 miles on the 3.6 and 30,000 miles on the 2.0 turbo. Use the OEM gap. Wrong plugs cause misfires, misfires kill catalytic converters, and dead cats cost more than a full tune-up. Pre-gapped plugs from the box are almost never right, so check every one with a feeler gauge. Torque them to 12 foot-pounds on the Pentastar. Cranking down harder crushes the crush washer and lets combustion blow past the seal. Do that every morning, and your engine feels brand new for years. So there you go. My 7 fixes for a Wrangler that runs like new. Oil filter housing swapped. Oil intervals cut in half. PCV replaced. Throttle body wiped clean with a bottle of BG44K through the tank. Air filter on schedule. Coolant flushed every 5 years. And the cold start habit locked in for good. That's what real Wrangler techs do to keep their own Jeeps rolling past 300,000 miles, and none of it takes more than a weekend. If this saved your engine, drop a comment below with the mileage on your Wrangler right now so I can see who's watching. Hit subscribe so the next Jeep breakdown lands in your feed the day it drops. And the full maintenance ebook is linked below with every torque spec and product I trust. Click on the video on your screen right now for more Jeep insights, and I'll see you there.